before we start talking about the actual stop that brought you this, but I mean, disproportionately, black men are stopped.
Correct.
By the police.
Correct.
For whatever.
For breathing.
Give me some times when you were stopped for nothing.
Sure. Well, the first time I was pulled over for nothing was in high school. Driving home, leaving the band, I saw one of my buddies. He said, "Hey, D, where you going?" I said, "I'm heading home." He said, "Give me a ride." He jumps in the car at a stop sign. The police officer stops me. She says we were speeding. She asked us, "Do we have any drugs in the car?" We're like, "I'm an honor roll student. Why would I have drugs in my car?" And so I just didn't understand it at that time. I do fully now. And so she ended up giving us a ticket for speeding at a stop sign. And fortunately, even in high school, I had enough sense. I got her name and badge. I took her to court. I won. The case was dismissed. And that's when I realized, hey, you have to advocate for yourself, because sometimes what you consider the law really isn't truly the law, only by authority, but they're not really fulfilling their duties as a law enforcement officer.
And a lot of people don't know that.
Correct.
And they get in trouble in
Correct.
many ways. Tell us about the actual stop that brought all this on, started this book, started the program.
Sure. There was two things, but the law enforcement stop, I was driving from Chicago to Battle Creek, Michigan, and I was doing 85 and a 65, so I was speeding. State Trooper Aaron Weller, a wonderful gentleman, pulled me over and said, "Hey, you were doing..."
You didn't think it was wonderful at the time,
well,
though,
no,
right?
I was like, I would rather leave.
Right.
And so he told me that I was doing 20 miles per hour over. In Indiana, that's considered excessive speeding, reckless driving, and he can either give me a $500 ticket or take me to jail.
Wow.
Neither one of those sound great, but I prefer the ticket than jail. So as we continued to talk, I gave him my ID respectfully, answered the questions that he asked me, and then he came back with a $150 ticket. And I said, "Whoa, thank you. Can I take a picture of you?" He said, "Why would you do that?" I said, "I have students who think that if a black man gets pulled over by a white police officer, it's going to be a fatality or something wrong is going to happen." I said, "I just want to show them with proof, with evidence, with you in the picture, that you have power in every encounter." And I told them the police officer is not the only one that has power. You have power in your word choices and your tone and your body language. I could have gotten out the car and ran. What would that do for me? I could have been disrespectful. What would that do for me? So I try to teach them, do not let a 15 or 20-minute encounter dictate the rest of your life. It makes no sense. So basically, after talking to him, he brought back a $150 ticket. Then he took that ticket, ripped it up, gave me a warning, and I went on my way. And I just felt that day that God is going to use me in an incredible way to be able to work with our young people to give them better choices.
We should say that you are buddies with this guy now, right?
Yes, they've been to my home. The Indiana State Police came to my home. We produced a video that is now mandatory training for the Indiana State Police for them to look at. It's called Do It Right. When I'm going through Indiana, I call him and say, "Hey, are you near?" so I can know how fast to speed, you know. But he's a great guy, Trooper Aaron Weller.
So this is interesting that you turned a bad situation into a good situation, a teaching moment.
Correct.
And you're taking it to the next level.
Correct.
Tell me about your book.
The book is called The Stop: Improving Police and Community Relations. It's on Amazon, aboutthestop.com, etc. But the book, the premise is, I start with my first time being pulled over was in elementary school. In 6th grade, my brother and I got pulled over. I'm 46 years old now. I have never been arrested, no criminal history, full academic scholarship to college. So my premise is there is a way that intelligent people behave, that intelligent people speak, that intelligent people conduct themselves. So what I want to do is not only relay this message to the community, but also to law enforcement as well, because they have a responsibility. And I believe law enforcement have more of a responsibility because they're trained, or at least they should be, but we just found out from DOJ that they're not really trained. And so if everyone works to create mutual respect, shared responsibility, and accountability, we don't have to have any fatalities. Everyone goes home safely.
Are you saying, Dwayne, that the person being stopped needs to be compliant?
I'm saying the person being stopped needs to be respectful. They need to understand that this is law. Therefore, this person has authority. And literally, this person does have the authority to take your life. So if I knew that, there's certain things I'm not going to do. It doesn't mean that you, as they say, bow down and be a Tom and a coon. That's absolutely crazy. Absolutely. But yes, they do have the law as recognized by the state on their side. So yes, you should comply. If they're asking for your driver's license, you shouldn't be driving a car without a driver's license. And here's what I've realized. A lot of people break laws and not even know it. They don't even do it intentionally, but they don't even know it. So if a police officer stops you, you should be calm. You should be thinking. You should be respectful. That should be common decency for all human beings.
And then you're respected, you're saying, as
Absolutely.
well.
I believe so.
Now, you've
the
turned
majority of the time, at least 90% of the time, and I do say in my book, I believe 90 to 95% of police officers are good, decent people. But then we do have that criminal element that are part of law enforcement that we really need to address and eliminate.
Now, this has turned into a program.
Correct.
And you're even taking it to Florida, your home state, I should say.
Right.
How has it been received from youngsters, young men?
Sure. I think the young men are excited about it because every chapter is a story. So they can identify with the stories that I'm telling. I'm not telling them, you should do this, you should do that. No. The shortest distance between two individuals is a story. So let me tell you a story that happened to me, and then we talk about what happened, what could have happened, what would have happened if this would have happened. So there are different variables. So as we begin to have these conversations at the end of each chapter, there's discussion questions. So now I can ask them, what would you have done if? Well, what would have happened if the officer was a racist? So they're able to really begin to think about their responses, their actions, but the ultimate objective is to have a proactive plan. We got a new administration coming in. And if our young people are not prepared and ready with stop and frisk, if it does come back, then there's going to be a lot more fatalities and a lot more situations that could have been
What should
prevented.
a parent watching today do with their kids right now?
Sure. I would say a parent watching today, if they love their child, they need to have proactive conversations. When I gave a few parents the book to sample, one parent came back and said, Dwayne, I'm shocked. My child told me he's afraid of the police. And she said, we have a husband, and my husband and I, we talk to him, but we just tell him, be respectful and come home. She said, can you create a workbook? So I literally designed a workbook to be a companion for the book so parents can be able to say, this is how we have these conversations. How do you feel when? What do you think about this?
Right.
So they can begin to help their children create a proactive plan. And we have a stop challenge for law enforcement and police. It's like an infographic that everyone gets home safely.
And you have quickly an event Wednesday?
Yes, I have an event Wednesday. It's at in the Lynn Hop School District.
Okay.
It's really a parent and children meeting. We'll be talking about the stop, but we'll also be talking about social media, the impacts of social media, as well as parents really being powerful in their children's lives, understanding study skills, time management, etc.
And everyone's invited. Folks, find out more information at DwayneBryant.com. Thank you so much,
Thank
Dwayne.
you very much.